In this tutorial, we're going to learn just the basics of how to use extrusion methods and a few other polygon modeling tools to create a Hexel style low polygon building. This is just for very beginning skill kind of practice. Now, what I did is I downloaded this picture from the internet, which is like a Hexel building, and I found this on Pinterest. And you can see something here in the doodle of the day. This person is creating these beautiful Hexel GIFs that kind of are making use of kind of polygonal cubes to create some interesting designs. So I'm just going to use this one right here, and I'm going to move over to Maya, and the first thing I'm going to do is, since I'm creating a building and there is a chance that I might want to actually render this using some lighting that is physically accurate, like the physical sun and skies shader in Mental Ray, I'm going to change my settings from centimeters, which would mean each one of these cubes is a centimeter, to meters, which, if you notice, now those grid squares have become much larger because now each grid square is equal to a meter. And I'll save that. And I'm just going to eyeball this. I'm not going to try to be perfect. This is drawn by hand, is my guess. It's not actually 3D, and so therefore it's going to look a little bit different because 3D has an actual camera lens, whereas this is just using like 2-point perspective. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a polygon cube, and I want to enlarge this, make it bigger. Let's see how many. Let's make it 11. No, let's make it 14. Yeah, let's make it about that big. So it's 14 meters, and the height will make it 6, something like this. So if I go here, something like that. Not bad, not bad. Not exactly, maybe more like 8 or 7. There we go. Alright, and I want it to be sitting exactly on the right about there. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to now I need to divide and create some doors in here. We're going to do a few things separate. This layer is going to be separate, this layer is going to be separate, and the stairs are going to be separate. But let's start off with the doors right here. Now before we do that, let's rough in some polygon subdivisions. Let's do this at 3, this at 3. Alright, and I'm going to select all of these faces right here. I'm pressing shift as I select. I right click here and I can go to vertex mode, edge mode, or face mode. Vertexes are just single points. Edges will move 2 points, and faces will move every vertex that's connected to that face. In this case, I want to use faces. Okay, something like that. Now I want to move into this thing, which is called the modeling toolkit, and I'm going to use extrude. now you'll see that it kind of does this weird pushing out. That's what extrusion does. It either pushes it in or out. And I don't want it like that. I want it to be offset about like this. Now what you'll notice is this is not creating a door. It's putting everything together. That's because my faces are kept together. Ah, there we go. Okay, so just kind of roughly think about it. Yeah, that looks about right. Again, I'm eyeballing it. I'm not going to try to be perfect. I can press W, E, and R. W is translate, E is rotate, R is scale to just move around. And I want to get rid of this stuff right here. Okay, delete. And I actually don't want these bottom polygons either. They're not necessary. So I'm deleting everything, and we got this interesting thing here. And I'm pressing shift to be able to select more than one face at a time. And I press spacebar to be able to move quickly from one space, perspective, top, front, side, quickly. And I will move it all the way down here. So now I'm keeping my quad topology, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 edges, 1, 2, 3, 4 edges, and so everything is a quad. So I'm keeping my quad topology while maintaining a low resolution, a low number of polygons. So I'm going to extrude again. Let's try this again. Extrude. Now you'll see that it did the offset again. I actually don't want that, so I'm just going to say reset. And now I can push this out, but actually I want to push this in. And maybe it's good to push it so those edges connect right there. Alright, and I have now created my doors. Alright, something like that. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the stairs. So if you remember, this was 7 high, so I'm going to go create, cube, and I can actually go in here and height is 7, so now it should be exactly the same. Now it's kind of annoying to try to connect this, but I can just eyeball it, and you'll see it's a little bit too high, so I'll bring it down and I'll do my best to get it as close as possible. I'm just going to do one of them right now. Alright, now the other thing is, let's count how many steps I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. Alright, so that means 1 meter per step, which is pretty good. So subdivision height, I think, is 7, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so that's going to allow me to create these. You know what, let's turn on wireframe unshaded so I can see things a little bit better. And I'm going to select these faces, and I'm going to go back to my extrude tool, and it doesn't do what I want it to do. I want to actually extrude it out this way, exactly 1 unit, so 100. Okay, oops, should be just 1 unit. There we go. And what I can do now is I can press enter, and that finishes that. And I want to now get rid of this thing, go here, select these guys, and press extrude. Reset. Extrude again. For some reason it's being a little bit wonky. extrude again, 1 unit, extrude again, 1 unit, extrude one more time, 1 unit, and now we have something that looks like this. Alright, about 7 units. Okay. Something like that. Now, it's a bit inexact. If we want, we could make this shorter. But let's just stick with what we have right here. Alright. So now I have this, but I want it to go all the way around. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to group this. So under here you'll have this thing group. I always use the shortcut key, but in this case I'm just going to go group, and I want the pivot point, which is where it rotates, at the origin. So I say group, and you'll see that this pivot point is right here. What this allows me to do, if I go to my outliner, you're going to see I have, this is this cube, and now I have the stairs. If I want, I could say stairs, and I could call this stairs group 1. Stairs group 1. Alright. Now, this allows me to have 2 pivot points, one here and one here. Now what I can do is I can just duplicate this, Command D, duplicate, and now I have 2 sets of stairs, and I can rotate it 90 degrees. And you see, now I have that. And I can do that again, and instead of rotating 90, I can do 180, and start as 4, duplicate it again, and minus 90. So this automatically allows me to create 3 sets of things rotated around a pivot point at the center. Okay, so let's create another level. We're going to create a separate box for this, and then these 1, 2, 3, 4, all these are going to be another set of boxes. So create polygon cube right here. Now we need it right here, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say 3 and 3. Alright. Something like this. This looks like it's kind of tall if I look at the reference. Looks like it's about 7 units high. Same, it'll look about the same. And then I'll move it down. Alright, and now we need to create some smaller doors inside here. Okay. Extrude. Again, reset. We're going to offset this so we have some thin doors. They look like they're about the same width as these. And you know what? I think my stairs should have been a little bit taller. We'll get to that in a second. And we'll go here. Let's just do this. Lift it up. Maybe we can even freeze transform here. So that, yeah, all we need to do is, you want to look underneath. Delete these again. Boom. Back to object mode. Select these guys and bring them down. And they're not that tall, so I'm going to even scale them a bit. Something like that. Then I'll bring them down. Alright, and now I can extrude them in again. Something like this. So this part is done. And I wanted to make these a little bit thicker. Now that I look at this, and we can just do that by scaling our Z. And I think by 2. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. There we go. Nice bigger. Nah, that makes the proportions look a lot nicer. More similar to these things. There we go. It's looking good. If I turn off shading, wireframe unshaded, it's looking not too shabby. Not exact, but we're not too worried about that. Now the rest of it's going to be so simple. We can just create a polygon cube, push it up. I'm going to guess this is 2 units high, so I'm going to just go here in my thing, 2 units high. And let's guess this is 10 by 10. Alright, not bad. 10 by 10. I would say it's a little bit bigger, and to be honest, we'll just eyeball it again. And a little bit like this. Now, we could extrude this out, or we could just duplicate it. I'm feeling like duplicating it. So, we'll see this on the side view. Okay, and this one is, let's put it here, kind of using my grid as a guide, and we need to make it smaller, increasingly smaller, and that's the X right here. And let's do 1. Oops. 1. Maybe even 0.9. Alright, something like that. And we need a couple more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this needs to be smaller. Let's do 0.7. And then this one, let's do this 0.8. It's not that. So 5, let's do 0.75. And then this one will be 0.6 and 0.6. There we go. Alright, something like that. And we can then just duplicate this and bring it in. Something like that. Make it smaller, just a smidgen. Again, we're just eyeballing it rather than doing exact. We could calculate it mathematically, and it's probably a better way to do it, but we're just learning how to do some simple things. Alright, not exactly the same. This is actually a little shorter. I can actually make this down. This one is a little bit shorter also. Can grab these guys, bring them down. Okay, something like that. And the last little bit, we're going to use extrude one more time. Reset the settings, offset it, bring it in, enter, extrude, but this time we're not offsetting it, we're pushing it in. something like this. And now we have something similar. I think each of these may be just too tall. I could bring everything down a bit. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Something like that, and I've kept quad topology for each one. And I used extrude quite a lot, maybe a little too much. There are other tools to use. And I used grouping and duplicating and rotating to be able to not have to redo this and just repeat this over and over again. And I use the outliner to be able to select that. It makes it easier. And if I turn off shading, wireframe unshaded, then I get kind of the look of this guy right here. And I could even create this reflection and everything when I render it out, but I think that's just about right.